Sup? It's Alex Keller.
I'm Mike Harding.
And this is the Filmtastic Voyage.
Welcome, everybody. Hey, good evening, or maybe good morning, or maybe good afternoon.
Konnichiwa.
It is the Filmtastic Voyage. We're here again. It's episode 102. Hey, we made it.
That means that 102, fun fact, stands for 102.
There should be a bonus that you get from the government. Like, it's like a friendship bonus. If you've made over 100 episodes of a podcast with your friend, you should get a tax break or just a bonus lump sum.
Not in Trump's America.
Of $20,000.
We did it.
Yeah. Listen, everybody.
We know what you know how like YouTube, when you get like 500,000 subscribers, they send you like a little trophy. The Let Me Listen Podcast Network should send us like a fucking trophy.
Hey, Let Me Listen Podcast Network. Why don't you send us a trophy?
Yeah.
It's that time. All right. I think, I literally think that we are the only, and this is not me saying anything bad about this, but on the Let Me Listen Podcast Network, I believe all the other podcasts have my brother. It's like my brother's podcasts. And then we're like the weird people with our podcast.
Well, either way, it's all nepotism.
Yeah. Hey, that's right. Harding City Central. Hey, everybody, I didn't mention this the last time, but I'm all clean shaven again. Huh?
If you watch the video podcast on YouTube's.com, you could see that with your eyes.
That's right.
And you can see my beard, which I'm not shaven, and nor will I ever. Because my face looks gross under it.
Well, you look very dapper and handsome with that beard there, Alex.
Thank you.
So, what I did is I filmed something, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, because, hey, what's the point of that? Am I right?
You're the new Batman?
I am Batman. How great would that be?
What, being Batman?
Just transition your career into playing Batman?
Like, it'd be cool if you were nobody and then you were Batman, I guess. But, like, it's a lot of pressure, though.
Be like Warner Brothers being like, we want a Hollywood unknown to be our next Bruce Wayne.
We want some non-actor to be Batman.
all these fuckwads go to some open casting call.
Like, it's like you walk in on accident to, like, the Warner Brothers office. You got, like, half a burrito dripping out of your mouth. And, like, you, sir. And you're just like, huh? You know, classic underdog tale of just getting...
He just needs 50 pounds of muscle added to his physique, and he can do it.
It's always those classic stories of, like, some guy was in some store with someone else, and, like, some guy, like, looked at someone or said something. It's like, you, young man, you're our newest star.
Yeah. I hear that's what happened with Hayden Christensen.
Really?
I hear that. Or rather, well, no, he was in movies before episode 2. But I'm fairly certain it was something where he didn't want to even audition for episode 2. And his girlfriend at the time's like, no, go down there and audition. Because he was kind of a nobody back then, right?
Well, you continue on.
But then his girlfriend was like, go down and audition for episode 2. So then he went down there and auditioned and got the part.
I hope that's his wife now.
Ex-wife.
That'd be sweet.
Ex-wife.
Really?
No, I don't know.
Oh, don't be so pessimistic. Similar thing happened, actually. So some actor was sleeping on Mark Hamill's couch and was like, hey, man, you should go and you should audition for this new movie I heard about. It's called Star Wars. George Lucas. You know George Lucas from American Graffiti? He's making this new movie. It's like space shit. You want to go try out for it? You know who the actor was? Robert Englund.
Who's that?
Freddy Krueger, man.
Oh, they were roommates?
No, he was crashing his couch.
He was just crashing it. Hey, Mark Hamill, you know what you should do?
Yeah, in the makeup, he's just like... He was like,
no,
in 10 years, I'm going to be a horror movie icon. You'll see.
Well, it was probably one of those deals where this guy told, what was it, Rob Englund?
Yeah, Robert
Englund. Robert Englund told Mark Hamill, hey, you should audition for Star Wars. Like, you know, they need like a leading guy, blah, blah. You could probably be the look. And then 10 years after that, Mark Hamill's like, hey, Robert Englund, you're You're a fucking ugly chud. They're looking for this guy to play a
Yeah, Wes Craven's looking for some
some
someone to look like a burn victim.
really ugly guy. So he's just looking for a really ugly looking dude to play this Freddy Krueger guy. Why don't you go? Why don't you go audition?
Robert Englund's actually not ugly, though. He's actually fairly distinguished.
He's not. Well, he's not. Handsome.
I mean, like he's got he looks like Charles Dance. He's got like a Charles Dance.
Exactly. You're just proving my point.
Well, Charles Dance is a dapper looking so and so.
Charles Dance is not a.
They just happen to have crooked noses, which makes them look like evil.
They got the sunken in eyes. They both have those sunken in eyes. But anyways,
Let the games begin.
They're still Hollywood pretty, so that means in real life they're probably very handsome. Yeah, because when you're either photogenic or you're not, right? And if you're not, it means
I think Hollywood can make anyone photogenic.
Maybe.
Do you remember that movie? There's like that
nowadays, definitely, right?
Like there's that movie. What is it? It's a Jay. What's his last name? He's the voice of the How to Train Your Dragon kid.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I don't know his last name. I forget it. Like Baruchel or something like that.
Right.
By the way, he was like the ugly guy in some romantic comedy. Like it's like, oh man, like you scored this 10, you're like a 2.
Yeah.
But then like you see like pictures of him like magazine and stuff, and like he's got like all the makeup on, like the makeup, the hairstyle.
Right.
Like, he's a good looking guy. So it's like Hollywood can make anyone good looking.
Sure. Yeah. You just put on some makeup. Little makeup.
Well, I mean. It's also the classic, like, Anne Hathaway in The Princess Diaries, where she's got frizzy hair and she's ugly.
Yeah, right.
They've got rid of that. I think was that the death knell of the glasses equals ugly kind of cliche?
I feel like that probably, yeah. I because like Hipster Hot, right? Like I think Hipster Hot became a thing towards the end of the aughts.
Well, when hipsters became a thing, yeah.
Right, like 2008, I felt was like, ugh, like here we are now, like Hipster Hot, right? And like it's almost like America fell in love with Daphne from Scooby Doo, but then somewhere around 2008, they're like, no, wait, guys, it's actually Velma.
It's because all the kids, who were like, it's like, well, Daphne's just like, pretty or whatever, but I like, the one that's not getting any attention. They all grew up, and then it became a thing.
Right, yeah.
Even though you'd think that would happen in the 80s. Due to
the 80s was
not progressive enough.
I mean, I honestly think if the further we go into the future, anything's not really progressive enough, right? I don't think there's a plateau.
You don't think there's a peak? You can't get
progression.
Peak progression. I think there's like a place, like a fuzzy line for plateau. I think there's a point where like everyone's equal and everyone's happy with each other and everyone's cool or something. Like there's got to be like a peak progressive something or other. Or is it too peak? Is it become too peak where no one's allowed to say anything about anyone?
Well, here's the thing. Oh man, we're getting into some deep.
Well, I haven't seen any fucking movies, so whatever.
It's weird because you look back on the tens, I guess, the teens.
Well, we're not out of the teens. We're thick in the middle of the teens.
And there was like like 2015, 2016. I remember that's when there became this very big kind of like culture clash between people that were like really trying to clean up society, at least in their eyes, right? People that were trying like PC culture was becoming a very big thing, right? And I don't say that as necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's just an observation.
But there were people that maybe arguably would take it too far. But then the counterculture to that started becoming this huge amassed thing. And I think 2015, 2016 was sort of the apex of that. So I kind of feel like in terms of like civil society and like in terms of our culture actually harvesting like a better place to live, it's this weird kind of pendulum that swings back and forth because there's always kind of this weird counterculture that emerges that doesn't quite understand it or doesn't quite get on board with it, and then suddenly it's like the pendulum starts swinging back.
There's always pushback. It's like a
Yeah.
I would argue that the whole culture comp has gotten worse in the last 2 years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
For for obvious reasons. But hey, here at the Filmtastic Voyage, we're everybody's friend. Alex,
Except for you.
talking about some clashing.
I don't really like the Clash. They're okay, but
Well, the Clash is better than the Sex Pistols. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it.
I don't have any reference to that one.
The Sex Pistols are overrated, and the Clash is actually pretty great. And also, I forget the member of the Clash, but he went on to make this other band called Big Audio Dynamite. Even better. Even better. Anyways, so I forgot to mention this the last episode, but I saw another movie that was just a big dumb bowl of fun.
Was it the Megan?
It was the Meg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I imagine you probably don't have any plans to see that.
Well, it looked, no, not really.
Okay.
Everyone mentioned it. Like I heard, well, I don't know. You probably tell me, but I heard based on like reviews I read that it was just kind of like not nearly as dumb fun as it could be. And I was like, I got all these other actual movies to see.
Right.
Like not sorry. Like
well, no.
Say, I was like last week I was talking about how like there were movies that were leaving theaters I needed to see and like
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It looks fun. It looks like looks like a fun movie. I want to.
It's.
See man that.
I mean, if you like Jason Statham,
I do.
Then hey, he carries the movie, but you got to be a fan of him. And it really was sort of like if you were watching like Jaws 5. That's how I feel like it was because there's been 4 Jaws movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this
that
would,
we know of.
This would be like Jaws 5, basically, where it's like, hey, we're getting real dumb right now.
Like it sounds like fun. It sounds like a Saturday night Netflix movie to me, though.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you don't have to watch it in theaters for sure. This is like a lazy weekend movie.
Like I saw Skyscraper already this year, and I'm kind of filled up on my like kind of like Saturday afternoon matinee type movies.
Yeah, I didn't see Skyscraper.
So, yeah.
Was that The Rock's like last big 2018 movie?
Like I don't know what else is he doing.
I can't think of anything that's coming out.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I haven't seen anything. I'm sure he's doing something though.
I'm sure he has stuff in the works, but like he had 3 crazy big, well, as in like fun movies, blockbuster movies, right? So it was like Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Rampage, and then Skyscraper. He has that show on HBO called Ballers.
Mm.
I just what I'm curious about is like,
oh, he's doing that. Well, I know right now he's filming that, or is he filming right now? I forget. He's doing the spin-off, the Fast and Furious spin-off.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe it's in pre-production, like it's about to film.
The thing I'm curious about, honestly, is with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If you're to kind of put his life under a microscope, like what is that guy doing other than actually, literally acting his tits off? Like, what I mean is,
well, apparently not because he's got massive pecs.
What I mean is like, does that guy ever just have like some time off, or is he's just literally like just swamped in?
He's probably the busiest guy in Hollywood, honestly. But did you see that the reports came in of the highest paid actors in Hollywood? Do you know how much money he made? I think last year.
2017.
Yeah.
How much?
Guess. I want you to guess.
I don't even know.
I want you to look me in the eye.
I don't even know.
Guess.
I don't even know actor salaries. But here's the thing: you were about to say 100, so I'm going to say 100 million.
120 million. Damn it!
120 million. Okay.
I shouldn't have squeaked out that.
120 million.
Yeah. And then Scarlett Johansson, the highest paid female, well, the actress and female actress is redundant. The highest paid actress was paid 45 million, something like that, last year. So,
okay.
Which is a lot, but it's
Yeah. So she's the highest paid actress, though.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to look at that.
Yep. There you go.
Look at the difference there, though. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Scarlett Johansson's cool.
But I think she did less movies than
Could be.
he did. Yeah.
Well, also like it's not just for movies. It's also like because Rock's he's got a TV show, and also because he's like charges $1 million just to tweet something out. So.
Oh yeah.
He's just he's a thrifty guy.
Someone was telling me today that he really wants to get back into wrestling. Like apparently he really would like to just get back into wrestling.
I would have a hard time believing that since he is a movie brand now.
Well, but think about it this way. Okay, so like, yeah, you're really successful when it comes to movies, and yeah, like America loves these movies you make. But on a very personal level, let's say you're really good at something, but it's not the thing you love.
I don't think he would be in movies if he didn't want to do them.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume so too, but
I think he probably
gotta
wants.
pay the
I
alimony
think he'd
somehow.
probably like to do do wrestling still, but I don't think he's gonna do that.
give
as his
up
thing.
acting. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he has the potential to widen his range when it comes to acting?
I'd love to see it. I think he's a talented guy. He's got a lot of charm. I'd love to see him do. Well, I mean, he's done kind of comedies, I guess, but I'd love to see him just do more play more like normal humans, I guess. Would be nice. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you can do the classic kind of late period Schwarzenegger where he's playing super buff dudes, but they're still kind of normal humans.
Right.
But then the buffness is the joke. Make a remake of Twins with him and Kevin Hart again.
Oh yeah, because God forbid they make triplets.
That movie's 20 years in the making. I remember hearing about triplets when I was in high school, middle school, reading fucking movie forums and be like, oh man, I got triplets. It's gonna be made, guys. Look out.
If this was the '90s and they were making triplets, I would watch the shit
fuck
out of
yeah,
that.
man.
Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then it was supposed to be Eddie Murphy, and that was supposed to be the. Could you imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger being in a movie with Eddie Murphy?
No,
It's
I would love to see modern day Danny DeVito doing his Danny DeVito shtick that we were talking about. In a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger nowadays, I'd be really funny.
Yeah.
It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito's just whores.
Well, and then unfortunately, Eddie Murphy is basically off the grid. I don't even know.
I think he just took the money and ran. I think he had one too many false starts. Because I remember there were 3 or 4 movies in a row where they were going to be his big comeback, and they all kind of either didn't do so hot or were undone by other things that happened. And I think he probably just I have $1 billion. Why don't I just retire? Good for him.
Yeah. Well, what he's mentioned more recently is he really just doesn't want to do a movie unless it's good. And that makes perfect sense. He's just if I'm going to do a movie, I want it to be good. I don't want to be doing these bad movies.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, speaking of movies that are good and actors that choose really good movies, did you see that trailer for that new Viggo Mortensen movie?
Yeah. It's him and
Marshall Ali. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
That's right.
I'm not sure. I'm
right.
Sorry if it's not.
Green Book.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Green
Not fun,
Book.
but it looks like I like me a good road trip movie. It looks like a good road trip movie.
Yeah. Hey, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, really, I could say it with both these actors is I'll see a movie if they're in it. They're both really great.
So you're gonna see Battle Angel Alita first opening day?
Oh, wait, who's
Marshall Ali's in that?
Oh, really? Oh,
I want to see that movie. So,
I mean, that movie is it's like a science experiment.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd see it just to see if it works.
I think it has the potential to be any number of things. It can go any which way. And I don't know. I just I'm a VFX junkie. Want to see it for that.
Okay.
Just so I can.
So the VFX look good.
Well, it doesn't mean if they look good. It's just I like dissecting, not dissecting, but I want to be amazed. So I like giving movies that are trying to amaze me, give them a chance to amaze me.
James Cameron's attached to it somehow.
He was
right?
going to direct it for a long time, then he got roped up in Avatar. Now he's executive producing it. He was I think he has the rights to it, and I think he was trying to make it for a while.
I mean,
which is probably the source of the human, the character being a completely CG creation. Was probably his intent the whole time.
I mean, if he's attached to it, it gives me a little bit more hope.
Robert Rodriguez is a good director.
Sometimes
visually, his movies have a lot of razzle dazzle.
What is it Shark Boy and Gak?
Yeah, but those movies cost
Girl
$20.
whatever.
That's the thing about them.
Spy Kids 4D. I mean, I understand what Robert Rodriguez does, and I think it's actually pretty smart. Is he'll make, at least it used to be this way, he would make kids movies to then be able to produce his own movies, which is pretty good. But
he's got that real indie spirit. He just makes whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And Sin City is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
it was more.
I liked
so
it,
in the
but
past.
I didn't love it. Yeah,
it was top 5, at least maybe top 5 movies in high school for me. Now it's probably top 20.
Oh, okay.
So, but still, I really, really love Sin City, at least from just a pure visual inventiveness thing.
Well, that's the thing is I think the style of the movie was amazing. I mean, especially like at the time, it was a mid aughts, right?
2005.
2005. I mean, that was like groundbreaking movie making material.
Yeah,
there.
it's that, and I just like it's. I think Roger Ebert literally said it's like noir on steroids. It's just really hyper
Right.
hyper realistic, hyper everything, and
Yeah.
I like Frank Miller's old style, and I think it's really well conveyed in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know we've mentioned this a bit, but like Frank Miller's earlier work is really what he's great for, and then his later work is really what he's not great for. But like Sin City being his earlier work, it fits that. It fits the whole time period where he was a very influential comic person. Was that drawn and written by him?
Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know
see.
he had a run on Daredevil, which I hear was actually very good.
Yeah, here's Daredevil run's one of the best.
Yeah, I mean that was actually the inspiration for Ninja Turtles, right? Have I told you about this?
I've heard that. I've heard that the whole they're connected or whatever.
They're apparently supposed to be in the same universe, but like at the end of the first issue of Ninja Turtles, at the end of that issue, it's like, oh, special thanks to Frank Miller for being so cool or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And you almost get this impression that like the first issue of Ninja Turtles was like maybe even just this one-off of like, oh, hey, let's tell this Elseworld story based on Frank Miller's Daredevil. Let's just tell this like little one-issue Ninja Turtles thing, one and done, right? But then
and now look at them, an empire.
Yeah. Did you see the? By the way, did you see that they released like the first episode of that new Ninja Turtles cartoon?
Is it good?
I think it's pretty damn good. Yeah,
cool.
It's like really ambitious.
You were all pissy about it earlier.
Was I?
You were like, "Oh man, how dare they make Raphael the leader or something?"
I don't think that. Well, yes, but like, I don't think they make him the leader, but they definitely make him the most outspoken one. Like he is basically the main turtle, which I don't like.
Like I liked when the designs were like, this is a little harsh.
It is harsh,
But then when in motion, it's like, oh, this looks fine.
yeah.
People are also kind of pissy about that new Star Wars show they revealed.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk to you about last time.
Some people, I didn't see much people being pissy for it. I mostly saw people being like, why are people being all pissy about this? So I didn't see any firsthand hate, but personally, for me, I feel that while cheap, this new show's art style is actually a lot more interesting to me than Rebels.
I like it. I like the new art style, but I get the impression that it's probably the people that are bitching and moaning about it are probably the people that were really in love with the Clone Wars Rebels way of making a show,
well,
and now they see this thing and they're like, oh,
Rebels looks really cheap compared to Clone Wars because it is.
Because it is, yeah.
It's like a lot less texture, a lot less. The lighting is a lot cheaper. It's the only way of putting it. But like because because the Clone Wars was George Lucas throwing money at this project because he had it.
Right.
And this other one is it was like just a TV budget show. Same with this other thing, but I think I like we'll see how it looks because it's only snippets. But I like for as far as cell shading goes, it's the first time I've seen it that it's like this looks good in motion. Like
yeah,
it's not like those anime that are like 2 frames a second or whatever.
I think it's great. No, I think it looks great. It's funny like. Because, you go on Facebook, and then, of course, they release this trailer, and then you just see a barrage of...
Oh, I don't bother ever.
...comments, right? And I only ever really skim the surface of that. I don't spend hours arguing with people, but this one person was like, man, Star Wars isn't for kids. It's just about people that love good stories. And for whatever reason, I picked that one to respond to because I'm just like... Hey man, here's a bunch of examples of why Star Wars is for kids.
Star Wars isn't just for kids, but Star Wars is about good stories. But like good stories you can make a good story for kids, but generally speaking, a good story should be for everyone.
Yeah.
But like a story that's like light, like kidsy light, doesn't make it bad. You just have to be in that kind of mind space.
Right.
It's different. It depends.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is sort of like. If anything, Star Wars is not for the aging fanatic. Do you know what I mean? Like Star Wars is not for like it's for everybody to enjoy, but I think the first people on the chopping block are like, no offense to us, but people that are like above 25 that are like that know all the nuance of the history and all this stuff about the Star Wars universe. I feel like we're probably the first on the chopping block when it comes to like who they want to please when it comes to making a Star Wars anything, right?
It's hard to say. I think, good story is good stories. Good stories please everyone, and that's how you should try to please everybody.
Yeah.
The thing about the Rebels and people who are like, oh man, how dare they make a show for children? The Clone Wars is coming back. What the fuck are you complaining about?
Oh right, yeah.
And like they got Jon Favreau's new thing, and also I think I've talked about on the show before. People who are like, man, why can't they have this thing but dark? Are just the worst. They're probably all 17.
Yeah.
Because
they want it dark and shit.
Yeah, because they want it dark, and like you can make you can make a Star Wars thing that is darker than even darker than Rogue One. But there are certain things I think Star Wars definitely should never have. Never have sex scenes. Never have swearing. And they should never have like Saving Private Ryan levels of gore. Like those are things that are just like what are like fan fiction, like way off. Like it's like what like you're like not even Star Wars anymore. You're just doing all this shit.
What they should do is Lionsgate should make a Punisher Warzone-esque version of like whatever the guy with the rags is, the bounty hunter with the fat bounty.
Dengar?
Dengar, yeah. They should make Dengar Warzone.
Oh my god.
And it just starts off with, these rich aliens, maybe it's like Trade Federation aliens is sitting at a table eating, and then suddenly the lights go off. And when they turn back on, it's like it's just shot for shot remake of that first scene in Punisher Warzone. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh fuck. Okay, well there's
I know I've always wanted to though.
There's a scene where it's like this old guy like sitting there, right? And it's like a close up of his face. And the screen flashes black. Mm-hmm. And then the neck, and when it cuts back to him, it's just a neck that's shooting out blood. And they should have that in a Dengar Warzone movie.
Yep, that's what they should do.
Yeah.
And then Bossk is eating people.
Yeah, Bossk is eating people alive.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, to me, it's just like, oh man, things can't be cool unless they're fucking extreme. It's just the most teenage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is teenagers are the worst. I think everybody goes through that phase and is basically from the age of, I think, like 13 to 25 or something, where it's just like, man, I want things to be so dark and gritty and gross. Mm-hmm. And I just want, like, people, like, I want the xenomorph to, like, go into a pregnant woman's stomach and eat the baby and then pop out of the stomach. That's what I want. That was an Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which is just a foul movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's who it's for. It's for 17-year-olds that are just like, oh, dude, did you fucking see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, you can make Star Wars dark and mature, and you can have mature themes, and, like, you can do, like, real heavy kind of stuff, but like there's certain limits I think that you cross a line and becomes not Star Wars anymore.
Yeah, and I agree.
Like Iron Man suddenly like cutting people's heads off. It's like this is wrong.
Oh, like if Marvel did that,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think like Infinity War is probably like a good level. Like you could. That's probably darkest they're ever gonna go, I guess.
I'd say so. I mean. Here's the thing. That first Iron Man movie, I would argue that's probably the darkest they would ever go.
Yeah, that's probably dark too. Yeah.
Because that was literally I think that was the only movie where Iron Man was actually fucking killing people. There was that whole scene where it's like these people were holding hostages, right? And then he just like targets like 7 people and just goes boom.
I mean, Iron Man
and
kills a lot
of
the guys in Iron Man 3, but they're all like, fucking extremists.
Oh, right.
Flopping mutant type people.
And they're like blowing up anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Marvel's a good example of, I think, something that started off a little bit darker, but then has kind of lightened up over the years.
It depends.
And maybe it's like sort of in response to how DC was like, fuck it. Like, like that was one thing that I noticed about Age of Ultron, because it came out after it came out after Man of Steel, right? And in Man of Steel, it was literally like 72 9/11s. Mm-hmm. It was like Zod and Superman like flying through skyscrapers full of people and blowing them up, right?
Yeah.
And then in Age of Ultron, it's like, oh, they made a point of like, hey, here comes the Shield, the Shield airships.
We saved everyone
just to help save people instead of just like chaotic, like instead of just like mindless destruction.
In Civil War, they were like, "Oh, you didn't save everyone."
Well, yeah.
So they kind of went back on that, which is kind of nice.
Right. Yeah.
You know, collateral damage and all that.
Yeah, but they made a point of it, which is great too. It's sort of like, hey, you guys are fucking pieces of shit.
Man, I wish, like, you know, I just want more DC movies.
I kind of, man, at this point, I sort of.
Well, I mean, like, it makes me sad. Like, we got Marvel doing all their cool stuff, and it's like, man, I want 3 DC movies a year. I want, like, you know, if they're of consistent quality, that'd be nice. Of a consistent good quality, that'd be nice.
Well, here's the thing. I think Henry Cavill deserves a really, really good Superman movie.
Yeah, just have him fight Brainiac or something finally.
I like him as Superman, even though he's written really badly.
Yeah, you have Brainiac kill Lex Luthor, and then Brainiac's the villain, and then Lex Luthor comes back as a clone played by a different actor. Like, they slowly, like, just somehow, like, reboot their whole universe softly.
Yeah,
it's like he's like still the same Lex Luthor, but he's like a different actor. Like, they just like every movie like slowly just kind of shifts it into this different continuity.
Dude, yeah, what they do is they have the Dick Grayson Batman just be Batman, so that way you just retcon Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck.
Well, like what they do, I mean, like Justice League 2, or like the beginning of the new Batman movie, Darkseid shows up, shoots Bruce Wayne with time lasers or whatever.
Oh, right.
And he's just gone for the rest of the movie. That's all Dick Grayson Batman movie. And at the very end, Bruce Wayne comes back as a different actor.
Well, that's okay.
It's just
yeah.
like, they just keep doing that.
No, yeah. So like in this movie universe, they have the Lazarus Pit, but what it does is it changes your face.
Yeah.
It changes your face from Ben Affleck to.
Or they could do the classic fucking.
Army Hammer. It changes your face to Army Hammer.
Classic soap opera thing. It's like, oh no, I got in a terrible accident. I gotta have that reconstructive facial surgery.
Oh,
Oops,
right.
I'm Army Hammer now.
He's on the Bat Pod or whatever.
Or you could do the classic. You could remake the classic fucking scene from the original Batman, like me here, right?
Wait, what?
In the original '89 Batman, where the Joker's face all fucked up, and the doctor's like, I could only do so much with the tools, and he's like, give me the fucking mirror. And
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, Bruce Wayne does that.
He does that. It's a nice little nod, you know. It's another little callback to the classic '89 Batman, which I still think is among the better Batman movies.
Well, sure. I would just rank it. I would rank it third.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We've ranked them before. I think.
We've ranked everything.
We've ranked everything. Yeah.
Haven't ranked James Bond because you haven't seen him.
I mean, Jesus, 25 movies. That's like a lot of hours.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I'll get to it. I promise.
Hey, Mike, you know what I was thinking?
Huh?
Remember, I was thinking because recently I've been thinking about movies that were forgotten by history. I think I mentioned a couple of them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what movie I was thinking the other day that was also has been forgotten by history? Like, not completely, but more or less.
What's that?
Wanted.
Oh.
Do you remember Wanted?
Yeah.
No one ever talks about Wanted anymore.
I sort of feel like it shat itself a little bit there because it was in a time where people were making like comic adaptations, but they didn't quite know what they were doing with it.
Isn't Wanted like nothing like the comic it's
oh
based
yeah,
on?
It's like maybe 5%. Like
it's like guy becomes assassin, like that's it.
Well, the real tragedy is the premise of the comic was so much cooler than the premise of the movie.
Explain.
So the movie is, oh hey, we're a secret society of assassins that need to go out and like maintain balance in the world.
Well, they get their orders from a giant weave.
Right, which is dumb.
Pretty nonsense.
And then there's the whole thing with curving the bullets, which I don't get why they picked that movie or that
It's
like,
fun.
Why shoehorn that in there?
I thought it was fun. That movie is so over the top. I don't recall enjoying it thoroughly, but also realized like I was like at the movie like that was stupid. I loved it. You know, one of those kind of things.
Right.
And then I haven't thought about it in 10 years.
James McAvoy. That was the first movie I saw James McAvoy in. And he wasn't bad, but I just thought, this guy's probably not going to go anywhere.
You know, fun story. Quick aside. I've been rewatching Band of Brothers.
Oh, Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, best miniseries ever, which you haven't seen.
Right.
And who should pop up in one episode but little kid James McAvoy.
Really?
Little,
How old
wet
is he?
behind the ears, James McAvoy. Well, he plays a young soldier, so he's probably in his early 20s.
Oh,
maybe even a teenager. And he gets blowed up in a hole.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry.
Interesting.
He got better, though. He turned to Professor X.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays he seems to be getting steady work.
He's split. He's in Glass. He's doing good. I like James McAvoy.
I like him. I don't know if I like him as Professor X so much, but that's fine.
He's fine. I don't really like those movies. I mean, like, they're good movies. I just don't really like X-Men that much. So I don't really have an opinion.
Well, I like X-Men the comic.
Well, I know you do.
But I don't like the movies as much. And what we haven't seen is if they could capture that energy that I feel like the comics had, and like also that Fox show, which is not as great as everybody remembers, but it's still sort of the definitive.
Oh, the cartoon.
Yeah, it's still sort of the definitive version of X-Men. If they can make a movie like that, man, that would be great. But it hasn't been made yet, so it's unfortunate. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so the comic Wanted, written by Mark Millar, one of his darker ones.
Oh, really? That's a lot. That's extreme for him, then.
What?
Mark Millar, writes dark shit. So if you're saying Wanted's one of his darker comics, that's dark.
Well, and
that's 17-year-old loving it dark.
This isn't a spoiler, but basically the very last page of Wanted, the very last
panel.
It's like a one-page panel. One-page panel. It's the whole page, and it's basically the main character being like something like "turn around so I can fuck you in the face" or something. "Turn around so I can face fuck you" or something.
That's so Millar.
Yeah, but basically what the comic is it's a society of villains, and what they do is they go from dimension to dimension because they've found this way to do this. They just go from these different versions of their world, going in and just raping and pillaging and killing and destroying everything, right? And
they're just humans.
They're villains. And so it's basically if there was this organization of villains that a union of villains that just basically came together and were just like, you know what? We're just going to do this. We're just going to keep going from dimension to dimension and just fucking kill everyone, do every bad deed that we want to do. And that's the premise of that comic. And it's really horrifying for sure, but it's presented in a way. I mean, you're looking through the lens of this main character that joins this organization, and you somehow are sitting there going, well, all right, well, I guess it makes sense. But it was never about maintaining the balance and all that shit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of?
Huh.
Jet Li's The One.
It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like Jet Li's The One.
They should make a sequel called The Two. Because Jet Li's The One's not... There's still two of them at the end of that movie.
Right, yeah.
And Jason Statham's in it. I think he's a time cop. It's been a long time. I remember thinking that movie was kick-ass.
Jason Statham was in another movie with Jet Li, I remember, back in 2007.
Was it War?
I think it was War.
The only reason I know is because I think I mentioned I took a little quiz of what movie is Jason Statham pointing a gun at someone? And half the movie are oh yeah, I forgot that was a movie. Because Jason Statham's been 24 action movies that I completely forgot about.
Oh wow.
He's a hardworking fella.
He is a hardworking fellow.
And also, I think I misspoke. I think I called him the Olympic diver. I don't know if he ever dived at the actual Olympics.
Interesting.
So I might have misspoke. But he was a diver.
I saw some interview with him. I think it was on some radio show or something. But he seems like a real cool dude. Like a real they were asking him, hey, have there been any movies that you just really hated working on? And he's like, well, even if you hate a movie or whatever. He was just talking about, there's been movies that he's hated, but he just, he doesn't, blow up about it. He just sort of is well, this is a job. I'm doing this, so that's it.
It's like that, maybe that saying, and what was it, The Disaster Artist, the worst day on a film set's better than the best day off of one or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just working on the moving pictures.
Yeah, I mean, Sometimes it can be grueling though, right? I mean,
Well, on a
14
film set?
hour
Oh, film sets are real.
14-hour days, people screaming
real
at you.
pain. I don't know how much screaming. I haven't been on any screamy sets, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because mostly, I've mostly been on smaller productions. Nothing too big.
Have you been on live action stuff?
A couple of things, but like
Really, I didn't know that.
smaller things, like indie things,
Like what
like
did you?
friends things.
Oh, okay.
But they're still sets with people, like groups, like crews. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
like yeah,
What were you doing there?
just helping out.
Oh, okay.
You know, I know a lot of live action folk.
Yeah. You
But-
learn something new every day.
Yeah, no. And then in college, I filmed a couple of live action movies, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
I mean, I think it's fun to do every once in a while.
No, it's fun.
Just sort of to exercise that muscle a little bit.
Well, your leg muscles, because all the standing you'll be doing.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I just because like a quick aside, in college I was like I want to do like a joint like animation live action kind of degree, and then when I started doing live action stuff, I'm like I'm just gonna do just animation. Just come right to it and just do animation.
It's so much easier. I mean, not easier, but what I mean is it's so much easier to control. Like,
Well, I just like being focused mostly, but
well, I mean, there's so much more you could do, right, without having to worry about the practicality of it. It's basically like, hey, this is how you make this thing, this asset in this thing, you know, and really the most you have to deal with anybody else, granted, unless you recruit people to, you know, shoulder some of the work, is like voice acting maybe, right? Whereas like a live action set, it's this weird... It's this thing where it's like you constantly have to worry about people's schedules. You have to worry about people's performances. You have to worry about all like people's egos, insurance companies, all this other shit. Like it just, I don't know. It seems like it would be just a nightmare.
yeah, but the animation's a lot more variables because you have to control the backgrounds and the props and the sound effects and and like in CG you're also doing effects and dynamics and lighting and all sorts of stuff. So like there's a lot more departments feeding into each other. And there's a lot of things to sort of control, even though they're done slower.
That's true, but I guess what I'm saying is all you need really for that is like your computer, your programs, and just to be able to sit down and like work it out.
Well, I mean, like in turn, you need a strong leadership. Kind of, you need like good supervisors and good managers and good directors to sort of be able to tell you what you're doing. Because if you have like someone that doesn't have any vision, or it's like I don't really know what I want to do about this or whatever,
yeah,
things are all gonna fall apart.
Yeah, sure, that's bad. Yeah, but I'm just saying, as opposed to like, okay, like let's say you're like with animation, like, man, I really need to I need to decide, or I need this guy to be in a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could just be like, okay, hey, little Timmy, background artist, go ahead and make this parking lot. And then we'll look at it in dailies.
If you're doing 2D,
if we're doing 2D,
yeah, because
well, like 3D, you would make that environment also, right? You would just make it differently. I think
make
right?
it in 3D in CG space, yeah.
Right. Yeah. As opposed to, okay, well now I have to go out and get a permit or get some sort of permission, possibly pay some sort of money to someone that owns this property, this parking lot. I have to decide when everybody's free to shoot, or I have to make sure everybody's free to shoot this thing in this parking lot on this day at this time. And then if someone can't make it, then everybody has to like somehow work around that, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. Well, I think they're both equally hard. It just depends on what you're trying to go for.
Sure, yeah.
I've been really thankful. Like, I've been blessed that I've worked with really good crews, and like all the directors I've ever worked with have like had like really strong visions and had to know what they wanted to do. So I haven't actually had to deal with any of that stuff. So I've been very lucky so far in my career that like every project I've worked on has someone who's like there and being like, I want this, 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 and this, and I could be like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Or I'm also free to contribute. Be like, how about I do it this way? And they're like, yeah, cool. And, so that's been helpful too. That I haven't had any kind of people really like being specific or like too specific.
I can't really say the same.
Oh well, I'm sorry.
I won't go into specifics, but man, I tell you, like there are some people that are very indecisive, and then they hold things up, and then you're just like, you try to facilitate ways of them of basically cheating it, where you could trick them into not doing that again for like, let's say, the next episode or something, but then they just yeah. Anyways,
This is just a fun story. A couple of years ago, I was doing a thing, and it was I got my favorite note I've ever gotten. There was like a thing that started back here and like moved forward in the camera, right?
yeah.
And they were like, "Well, we love it. We love where it ends up. We love it here. But can you make it start further back, but also go slower?" It's like,
Yep, that's
it's like that doesn't make any sense.
so then what ultimately happened
I had to
in that situation?
I had to basically like make it like do camera tricks to give it to do what they wanted.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like I had to like change the way it was actually like moving around.
Oh, okay.
So, but like yeah, but it was just kind of it was like I like it's one of those things where like I kind of understand what you're trying to say, but like it's just really funny that this is what you actually said is impossible.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are the best notes.
Usually don't go through this either. I'm also very unlucky that way too. Usually all my notes make sense.
Yeah.
Talking shop with Mike and Alex.
Talking shop with Mike and Alex. I mean, here's the thing. You know, the summer movie season is over. There's just not much to talk about. I mean,
You know, I saw this cool demo. SIGGRAPH was a couple weeks ago, which is the big computer graphics
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Talking shop with Mike and Alex.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA unveiled their new slate of cards, graphics cards that can do real-time ray tracing, which is super sweet, which means you can get
Oh.
realistic reflections in real time, which is a real cool thing. People at home.
wow.
So people at home, so I think I might have explained this a while ago, but basically nowadays, if you want to do realistic reflections, what you have to do is either bake them in. If you're doing live real-time rendering, you have to bake them into your surface, more or less. There might be ways around that, but that's the way I'm familiar with. Or you have to, or you do regular rendering, which is like takes like depending on what you're using, can take like a big shot in a Hollywood movie. It's like a couple hours a frame, maybe, something like that. And what it does, the computer is basically like takes like a mirror and like takes every single piece of light and bounces off that mirror and calculates what it would be seeing. And it does that, and it calculates in the computer, and it takes a few hours.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of data. Real time, it's just doing it right in front of your eyes.
Wow.
But like it's not nearly as precise and realistic looking yet. But it is pretty impressive. Did I ever tell you I saw this cool demo where they took the Unreal Engine and they took I think it was that it was this it's that one of this cool VFX house called The Mill. And what they did is they developed this car that's got a bunch of cameras and sensors on it, and they'll drive it down any random old highway, and then they'll have a camera filming it, and then overlaid in that camera is a CG car that looks photorealistic, rendering in real time, because the car, the real car, has cameras and stuff, is actually filming the environment, generating reflections, and also generating motion capture data.
Yeah.
So like they're just basically augmenting reality, a car on top of it that looks photorealistic, but you can change its color and its model and its wheels and all that stuff in real time as it's driving. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
So the way it's rendered, it basically, does it look like you're watching live action footage?
Yeah, if you try, I don't know where exactly you'd find it. It's like the Mill Unreal car demo.
Interesting.
Search that, but like it looks like
So the end product is basically you get this live action footage.
Yeah,
But
like
you can customize like
you
car
you
colors.
look at it at a glance, it looks like it's a real car on the freeway.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then you like suddenly like you swapped out its color, and suddenly this blue car is now green. And it's like, wow, how did this car become a different color right in front of my eyes? Fucking computers, man.
Jesus. I can't even imagine. I can't even, like 50 years from now, I can't even imagine. Like, I think it, okay, going back to Ready Player One, I honestly could picture a future like that.
I think eventually there's going to be a plateau of real-time render. Like renderings doesn't need to be calculated anymore. It can all just be real-time and brute force and get the same effect. Maybe like it depends on how complex the calculations are. But you see things nowadays. We're getting to the point where like real-time rendering, like Unreal stuff, is actually being done in movies and stuff. Like mostly maybe TV. I'm not sure specifics. but it's happening.
But like, think of like in terms of like VR, right? Which always has to be real time rendering. I think like
Yes, it has to be.
video games and VR stuff.
VR
it's always real time rendering.
VR,
right?
you're not only rendering something, you're rendering 2 images at the same time, which makes it extremely intense
right.
because you have to do the what do you call it? The stereo vision.
Yeah.
So you're doing usually, and it's also sometimes in order to get the smoothest, usually it's like 90 frames per second or something, even above, because 60 is the standard for video games. Most people, I don't know if most people know that, but that's 60s video game standard. 24 frames per second is film standard.
Right.
So 60 is like for the smoothness, but like I think it has to be up to 90 or something higher than that to get the real to eliminate any kind of potential strobing.
Oh.
And then you're also doing 2 images at once, so it's really computing heavy.
Wow.
But eventually we're getting to the point where like I think they just unveiled a wireless headset like Oculus did. And also, like, once you get like a backpack version of a computer, or like even like in an all-in headset, then we're done. Like,
Right. Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah. But I guess
That was gonna be a while though.
Well, yeah, but it's like I could easily picture a thing where it's like you go into this VR world where it's like this beautiful world. Meanwhile, like our world's all fucked up.
Yeah, you do need that omnidirectional like walking pad that they had in that movie, because the people walking on the sidewalk in that movie is like, you're gonna run into something. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I get it's cool. It's a cool image, and I get why they did it that way, and it's fun, and it's really kinetic, and I like it's fun. But like you couldn't be running around the city streets in your headgear. You're just gonna kill yourself. You get hit by a car. You're gonna hit by that car chase that's happening right next to you guys.
Yeah. What'd be interesting is if everybody, like, let's say there's this culture we live in where everybody is hooked up to VR for like hours and hours a day, right? Mm-hmm. Which I could easily see happening. There could be people in the real world basically robbing you blind. Like I feel like burglary and stuff like that would somehow suddenly be just like this really easy thing to do. Like there's literally everybody's just tuned out of the world, and you could just be like, hey, I'm going to go in this person's backyard, steal some shit, leave. They won't see me. They're over there playing this fucking game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm
As
just
a society.
Hey, I'm thinking of my retirement plan, am I right? 5-finger discount. That's
like if the Oasis was real, as it is, like as presented in Ready Player One, would you participate in the Oasis? If you could afford the headset and the gloves and like the trackpad suit or the little, what do you call it? The walking thing.
Part of me thinks I would not. And that's not me just saying that. Because here's the thing. When World of Warcraft came out, everybody was so into it, right?
This episode brought to you by the new World of Warcraft expansion. Come on, Blizzard, give us some money.
And for me, it kind of caused me to be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play World of Warcraft ever, because look at all these fucking people that like talk about this game like it's a drug. Like I knew, like, okay, if we're talking like 2005, 2006, when this thing was like just kaboom, right? You'd be like, people would be like, yeah, dude, I was playing like 8 hours a day, but like, I gave it up like 9 months ago, and my life's been better for it. And it's like, dude, you're talking about this game like it's a fucking drug.
But yeah, but it's kind of like their issue, though. It's not really the game's fault.
But that's what I mean, is like there
Warcraft.
was so many examples of that happening where it's just like people putting in like so much of their life into this. But okay, so there's that, right? And then when smartphones came out, I didn't get one until maybe 2012 or 2013.
Same,
maybe.
I didn't get one until 2012.
And the reason is I was like, man, if I have a smartphone, it means I'm just going to be sitting here on this goddamn smartphone while like things are like I was worried that it was going to be something where it's like, hey, I'm out with my friends, and then we're all just sitting there on our smartphones, not even actually talking to each other, but just on our smartphones.
I didn't get a smartphone because I'm like, all I do is call people and text people. What do I need a smartphone for? Turns out the internet's great, and I use it all the time.
Well, and it's very useful. Like, smartphones are very useful, but the more like pedestrian stuff on a smartphone, or the more fun stuff, the
games, World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I try to not do any of that.
Ouch.
Just because it's like, I don't want to be sitting there just doing this,
Yeah, man. I don't think I could log on to World of Warcraft ever again. I think I literally couldn't. trying to think. Because I played it for like a year and a half, I think, back in the day. And I did everything there was to do. I think, have I told you?
Maybe.
Yeah, I did like everything there was to do in the game up until like patch 4.2. I played for like a year and a half, did like Lich King stuff, went back, did all the old stuff, did all the Cataclysm stuff until like 4.2. And then all there's left to do is raid. I fucking hate raiding. Because it's like, okay, guys, let's like meet up on Saturday night. It's like, I don't want to schedule my game. I want to go out on Saturday night. After like a month or two of that, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Right, yeah.
Like, I did all the quests in the game. Like, literally, I did, like, every quest you could do in the game. I did everything you could do alone. I'm like, I had friends that played it, too, but they also kind of quit with me because reasons. Like, because I also had to, like, move out to L.A. and get a job. And it's like, this is...
And stuff.
So I was like, oh, sorry, guys. I gotta be an adult. Bye.
Well, and that's something I would say about, like, if the Oasis actually existed... I think there would be maybe like a 10-year span where this thing is like a big deal. And then people would kind of be like, well, maybe not play it as much. Maybe dial it back. I think there is something inherently within every human being that's just like an itch for authenticity. And it's like, video games are fun. VR would be fun too. But like at the end of the day, it's like I think people want some like... a sensation of something being tactile or, visceral or, like the being able to actually like have your bare hand just like touch a surface instead of walking around and seeing like Battletoads.
So what you're saying is we should make the Matrix and jack ourselves into the Matrix so our brains are all like thinking we're touching stuff, but we're just in a bunch of tubes.
Well, that's the thing with the Matrix. People didn't know they were in the Matrix.
Well, I mean, if you knew you were in the Matrix, it'd be like the Matrix. Would you rather? So what you're saying is you'd rather be in the Matrix, except you're in the Matrix. You can leave the Matrix whenever you want.
Because the Matrix is kind of gross.
Not
like
actually.
They stick all this shit in you.
I'm just saying, like instead of wearing stuff and having goggles, you'd rather have your brain tricked into being in a VR thing. I don't know. This is magic. We're talking about magic.
But that's
right
the thing
now.
is like
Or were you just not?
If someone told me like, "Hey, we have this technology to trick your brain," I'd be like, eh.
Or speaking of movies that everyone forgot, what about Surrogates? You'd like to be a surrogate?
Oh, Surrogates.
One of those?
That movie wasn't like half bad.
I'm just saying it's the movie I ever forgot.
It is. It was like sort of Bruce Willis right when he was flipping into I don't give a shit mode. But like Surrogates, I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a weird reality too, though. I think, right?
I don't know. What would your Ready Player One avatar look like? Did we ever talk about this?
No, we haven't.
I mean, would you just choose like Darth Vader or something, like like one as an example, or would you actually like make your own character, like a Parzival type, with your purple hair and your face?
I definitely wouldn't make it look like Parzival because
not actually.
Parzival
I'm just saying, like
scrawny little
a custom character, I should say.
See, part of me. That's a tough question, honestly.
Having given it thought, I can go first.
Go, yeah.
Having given it thought because, after the movie came out, I'm like, what would I do? I'd probably be like some kind of Dark Souls character, like something with a lot of armor and a cape. Because, like, capes are cool.
Okay.
That's basically capes are awesome. I'd like a cape.
Okay. I would either...
But not like a character from that thing, but a character that looks like
look like it, yeah. I mean, quite honestly, I think... I would either want to look like a version of myself. I'd either want to be that realistic or I'd want to go completely goofy. Like the first thing I think of is like I'd want to either be like Piccolo and just run around acting.
But would you be actually Piccolo?
Super serious all the time?
Would you actually be Piccolo?
I would do his voice. I'd be like, oh, this sandwich. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, I'm dying or whatever, right? Yeah. Or I'd be like a Goomba. Because that's fun.
But you need arms. Don't you have to be a humanoid-esque character?
But that's the thing is, like, if I was a Goomba, it would just be Laugh City Central. I couldn't do anything.
You could be like a stack of Goombas.
I'd be running around and people just continually jump on me and I'd die.
You'd be a giant Goomba. You'd have to. I don't know. I think you have to be a human-shaped character. I don't think anyone in that movie were.
In the Oasis, there was no crazy things.
I think they were like things with multiple arms. I don't recall seeing any like. Maybe I haven't watched any like the analysis videos. Like look at all the references, but like I don't remember seeing anything that wasn't generally human shaped.
Oh, okay. How did that movie do?
Box office wise,
Yeah.
I think it did feel well enough. I don't remember.
Was it a success?
I don't remember hearing anything about it one way or another, so I assume it was probably successful.
Okay. Because I never really got a good gauge of like the general reception behind that movie.
I think based on its Rotten Tomatoes score and everyone talking about it after the fact, its reception's just kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
From what I gather, I enjoyed it.
I
wouldn't buy it.
Sort of liked it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Also,
wouldn't buy it.
Like there was some shining moments. I thought like there's some good set pieces.
Yeah, VFX outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding VFX.
Yeah.
That and Avengers are probably the front runners this year as far as VFX is concerned.
It's funny that you say that because I know some people that have complained about the VFX in Infinity War.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of standout instances involving the Hulk's head, or rather Bruce Banner's head, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking mostly Thanos. Thanos is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes, he is. Wow. I mean, you really get the feeling that Thanos is like in the room with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not this. You're not watching a cartoon character. Like you feel like he's actually there, which is really great.
And that fucking
the Squidward guy.
oh, he was good too. I like
No,
Squidward
yeah.
guy. Well, all of his little gaggle of Warcraft characters are all
Those
really
weird
good.
like goblin, the guy and the girl goblin. They were kind of weird. I thought they were a little bit out of place.
The goblin, Proxima Midnight, because she looks the most human, is the hardest to pull off, I think.
Yeah.
Because she's just kind of like got like a normal human face for the most
Now,
part.
are they from the comic?
I actually think that I heard they're like characters made. They're from the comics, but they're made after the first Iron Man movie came out. Like they're very recent characters.
Oh,
which is
okay.
interesting to me. You know, it's
Yeah,
not usual that the Marvel MCU pulls from recent stuff.
Well, because I know the Squidward guy was. I recognize him from the comics. I think he's an older
Like
character.
Ebony Maw or something like that.
Yeah.
He's something Maw.
Right. Yeah, because I remember Thanos says, "Oh, did you kill Ma?"
I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, who are you talking about, Thanos?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, the Overlook Hotel sequence in Ready Player One is outstanding.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like,
That was-
how the hell
Yeah.
do you even like they like made the lighting look the same I mean, assume it's all digital. It had to be. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, so I would say the race for me was like, although when I was watching it, I thought it was really cool, kind of dumb, but
As a
it
concept
looked
or
cool.
as in
The
as an
concept,
execution?
the concept was, I thought, a little bit funny.
What compared to the book, you mean?
Silly. Well, here's the problem: is I think the book was like a little bit too nerdy. I thought like the book was like just these deep cuts that I think like I agree with the changes that they made with the movie.
Yeah. I got a third of the way through the book, I think. So.
Yeah, and then the Shining sequence I thought was like the best part of the movie. I thought that was like actually, oh, okay, this movie was worth seeing because this is like a very clever thing that they did here. And then I can't even remember what the third one was. What was the third one?
Quest? The third what?
The third quest. It
was like beat Adventure in Atari.
Oh, that's right.
On
And
Ice
they had
Planet.
people standing, or there, people going up to the arcade system. Yeah, I remember that. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean the movie was fine. I think maybe it was the best movie you could probably make off of something like that.
Yeah, I think it worked out very well. I enjoyed it. I thought, yeah, probably best it could be.
Yeah.
Did you read Armada?
No.
Follow up. I didn't read
Oh,
Armada.
there's a new book.
It's the same guy. It's not. It's the same. It's Ernest Cline's new book.
Oh, okay, but it has nothing to do with.
I have no idea how it is, what it's about, nothing about it. I just want to know if you read it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Nope, I don't like his style of writing necessarily.
You know that Parzival, bit of a Mary Sue.
He is a bit of. That's the biggest issue I have with the book is he's just so perfect. This kid, just so perfect in every little way. Doesn't do anything wrong.
It's fun. It's candy. I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, the book was fun. I just stopped reading it because I'm really bad at picking books up after I put them down.
I mean,
you know,
it happens.
yeah.
The reason I was able to do it for so long is I just took the train to work. And what are you gonna do on the train other than keep to yourself?
That'd be nice. I need to get more audiobooks, I think. I've run out of podcasts to listen to. All my favorite podcasts are going on hiatus or like ending.
Really?
Yeah.
Even the one I listened to?
No, not that one. But like
Oh,
you
okay.
also an episode a week, you know? Like you still have so many
Yeah.
hours of the day to fill in, especially because a lot of like you should never listen to things while animating, but I don't only do animation.
Right. Yeah.
So I gotta, sometimes it's nice to put on a podcast and stuff. I've been re-listening to H.P. Lovecraft's collection, which is keeping me busy, but that's gonna end pretty soon.
Oh,
I already
shit.
had the Mountains of Madness.
I take it that's towards the end.
It's one of his later pieces. It's a good book. It's like The Thing. You'd probably like it.
Oh, okay.
It's like people go to the Arctic and they're just there for like geology, and then one of the teams disappears, and then they go and find him, and then they find more.
I would not be surprised if the thing was basically loosely inspired by that.
I'm sure it was. Also, like it's the setting is the biggest point of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
The Arctic, ooh, spooky. And they were gonna make that movie about it with Tom Cruise, and then they all fell apart because Universal didn't want to pony up the cash or whatever. I think it was Universal. Nobody did. I'm not gonna single out Universal. Nobody wanted to give Guillermo del Toro $150 million to make this movie, though. I don't think you could probably make it for 50. Save that money for the Shoggoths or whatever they're called.
Uh-huh. You
could probably if you pinch your pennies, you could probably do it for 50.
Guillermo del Toro just can't help himself.
No, but it's
he wants that buttload of money to do his thing.
You want to do some location filming though? That's expensive.
Right.
Maybe 100.
Yeah, but not him.
I had a hard time seeing how like that movie, like Tom Cruise, like it's more of a dramatic role than an action role.
Uh-huh.
Like he would be running a lot, I guess, but like it's a weird movie. It's like there's no love. Like I think the studio is also like, this movie, we're gonna give it $100 million to make this movie that's got no love interest and kind of ends shitty. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
And like it's also weird seeing, like I can't imagine Tom Cruise in a movie where, the ending isn't like a big victory.
Oh, right.
Like I'm sure, like I don't want to spoil the short story, even though it's 100 years old, but not
They
really.
all die.
No, they don't.
Oh.
So, but like if the character that Tom Cruise would play isn't dead, and gets away, but like the thing about Lovecraft stories is most of the characters in Lovecraft stories tend not to die, but they're always plagued by madness at the end of it.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not, but his compatriots are.
Oh.
It's still it's not really a happy story.
Is it one of those I ended up with Keith David in the snow endings?
Kinda, you could say like that. Well, fine, I'll spoil it. The Mountains of Madness ends like Tom Cruise and his scientist pals, they get away and they're going back to the mainland, but like, they're like, man, that was some fucked up shit. And they're all kind of scarred, and then one person sees something over the Mountains of Madness that's so horrifying that he goes fucking insane, and we never know what it is.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so like, in the end of the book, it's like Tom Cruise like, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's like, it's like we told them we shouldn't go back to the Arctic, but these other guys are gonna go, and I gotta stop them. I don't remember exactly how it specifically ends, like the last like events. I just remember that's sort of the gist of it.
Yeah. Tom Cruise, honestly, I can't quite pinpoint what I would describe his acting to be. Because intense. Because I feel like there's a whole myriad of movies that he would never be able to pull off, but he never doesn't pull off his movies.
He's a great actor, though. Like he like him, just he's an intense actor, I think. But like,
yeah,
I think like the opening scene of like Mission Impossible 3, where he's like trying to bargain for his wife's life, is actually like, it's like really good acting, where he's like got to process all these emotions and stuff.
Right.
I think he's a very, very good actor, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. He was nominated for an Oscar too, but no one talks about that. For Magnolia.
Oh, that's right.
Which is great, really great.
Well, because he used to have sort of a bigger spectrum of roles.
Yeah,
back in the day than he does now. I mean,
like,
nowadays it's just,
Eyes Wide Shut. He was like, that's like a full-on drama.
Yeah, it's just like action nowadays. But back in the '90s, especially, like he was doing a lot of different kinds of roles.
I'd like to see him play more villains, more Lestats, and whatever the guy from Collateral's name is, and those kind of guys.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun. He's got a really good villainous presence to him.
He does.
I like to see him unleash that a little more.
Yeah, it's funny. I seem to be the only person that doesn't quite care for Collateral. And
I thought it was really good. I'm not like, I don't think I'd buy it necessarily.
Yeah.
It's got that one great scene where Tom Cruise shoots those guys in that alleyway.
Right, yeah.
I keep seeing that over and over as like this is how, like, because Tom Cruise goes to 11 for all of his movies. It's like, this, like, people have analyzed, like, this is like perfect gun handling in movies and stuff. Like, it's like, oh, cool. Like, that Tom Cruise knows his stuff.
Like, I think it starts off really well, and then somewhere along Act 2, it kind of like loses some steam. and then the ending is sort of like an ending. It's just like, well, there's the ending, guys. So, but I don't know. To be honest, I've seen more Michael Mann movies that I don't like than Michael Mann movies that I do like.
I can't. I think I don't know. I've like my Michael Mann experience is not up to snuff.
Okay, Heat. Have you seen Heat?
Heat's great.
Because that was good.
Heat's
that
great.
was a great movie. But Public Enemies was bad.
I'm trying to think. Public Enemies, Collateral. Michael Mann.
I don't know what else he's done.
I mean, he did like Miami Vice. He did that hacker
right.
movie with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, Black Hat.
Black Hat.
Right, I heard that was not
A black hat hacker named Hathaway. That's what I remember from that trailer. It's just like it's a lot of ha sounds in one sentence.
Yeah, I heard that was not great, but hey, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
No, I'm just trying to think of other movies he's done. I can't say. He did Manhunter, the original Hannibal Lecter movie.
Manhunter.
Thief with James Caan. He did Insider, which I haven't seen. I heard it's really good.
That was good. That was a good one.
Which I always got confused with Inside Man for the longest time.
Wait.
Inside Man's the one with Clive Owen.
Uh-huh.
They rob the bank. And Insider is, I don't know what that is.
No, I thought Insider was the Clive Owen
No,
one.
Inside Man. That's the Spike Lee Clive Owen movie.
Oh. I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I'm not. No, that's the wrong one. I'm thinking of the International.
No, that's the
'Cause
other
fuck
Clive
that.
Owen movie.
Fuck.
That's directed by Tom Tykwer.
Fuck that movie.
Run, Lola Run fame.
Man,
like a third of Cloud Atlas. I'm not really sure what he did with Cloud Atlas.
the International, it's like they have a shootout in the Guggenheim for like fucking an hour and a half. It felt like.
I heard that people like that scene. I don't know.
Ugh. Just
Speaking of movies,
I've never fallen asleep during a shootout movie, or during a shootout in a movie. But
Shootouts,
that
like-
was the first. That was the one.
I find there's a certain point, like action movies, you have to be really aware of, ebbs and flows, because it's really easy to become so action packed that it becomes too much and you fall asleep.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching Star Trek Into Darkness, and like there's a point in that movie where the action hasn't stopped for like 35 minutes, and like then like the big ship shows up and starts attacking the Enterprise, and I was
Right.
I was into the movie. I'm like, oh no,
Right. Yeah.
I just like couldn't handle it anymore. It's like, just let's have a dialogue scene, please.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's like 20 minutes of Khan trying to crush Spock's head or whatever, and then punching each other on top of a flying car or something. Yeah, whatever. It's like, wow, this is so not Spock right now. This is not a Spock. This is not what Spock does right now.
Well, did you hear that the search for Spock is over? Because the movie is called The Search for Spock. They found that they're doing Star Trek Discovery to cast Spock again, new Spock.
Wait, who? What?
Star Trek Discovery, which is a television program.
Oh, right.
Cast
and then they have Spock,
Mr. Spock.
and it's a different actor.
It's a new guy.
Why?
I don't know. I don't care. Whatever.
Why not just have whatever? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Hey, they're gonna do a new Star Trek.
Just do
with,
Oh yeah, I bet you're excited about that.
with Jean-Luc Picard.
First of all, Grand Moff Tarkin Spock. Second of all, that's fun. Are you excited?
I forget if it's a show or a movie. I think it's a
I think it's a show.
movie.
I
Show.
heard
No, it's a
series.
show.
I heard there's.
Yeah.
I heard
I think.
it's a series. I heard that they're making like 2 new Star Trek series for their little.
They're gonna blow their load.
I don't know. People.
But hey.
People are pretty stoked about Jean-Luc Picard coming back. Everyone loves.
Fuck yeah.
It's like, oh, Mr. Data, you blew up in Star Trek Nemesis. Who am I going to talk to all the time? Riker? That sucks.
Let's make an old Data. Make a really old looking Data.
We found this another Data, Mr. Data, in the desert, in a different desert. But this one, it's been in the sun too long, so it got all saggy.
It's Brett Spiner looking, but from the year 2019. I hope it's good. Hey, my prayers have been answered. They're going forward in the timeline.
Oh yeah.
They're getting Picard in there. We get to see what happens after Voyager.
You see Picard's shitty son, and he stabs him and kicks him off a bridge.
Yeah, you talking about Tom Hardy? Or
No, that was
no?
his clone.
Oh yeah, that was his clone.
I'm just making a Kylo Ren joke.
Oh yeah.
Or
If they-
no, I guess it'd be Riker's son, because you can't. It has to be like a kind of not the main character, but a side character. But then Picard's on an island.
Plus,
and
Picard
he's-
doesn't have any children.
I know. I'm
so,
just joking.
Yeah.
Picard's on an island, and it's like, it's time for Starfleet to die. Fuck Starfleet. Jean-Luc Picard.
And then he shows up to have a battle with somebody, but it's him as a younger version of himself.
Well, it'd be like, he's there, and then right before they shoot him.
It's the holodeck.
Yeah, right before they shoot him, well, they beam him up.
Yeah.
It's like, they shoot all the cans and they get beamed up, and he's like, I got beamed up. Star Trek.
Star Trek. This is Star Trek.
Welcome to Star Trek, Mr. Data.
I hope they have dune buggies.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Driving everywhere, like in whatever Nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alex. I think I'm all juiced out. What do you think?
You got squeezed.
Yeah, I got all squeezed out. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to hear us do more bad Star Trek impressions, why don't you write us at filmtestingvoyage.com, filmtestingvoyage@gmail.com, facebook.com. We'll send you a demo tape.
We'll send you sound clips.
Yeah, we'll do that. Facebook.com/filmtestingvoyage or YouTube on Filmtastic Voyage stuff. And we're also on Letterboxd. Batman Crothers.
I'm Mr. Kerosene. That's MR, not MISTER. Mr. Kerosene, yeah, that's us on Letterboxd. See our movie reviews. We got some similar ones and some opposing ones. So that's fun. Listen, everybody, we're a part of the Let Me Listen podcast network. All right, it's a bigger podcast network that we're part of. That's on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes. You can leave us some comments, leave us some ratings. Tell your friends about us. All right, let's all talk movies.
Yeah, if you want to write in stuff it's like, hey, have you guys ever seen this movie? You should talk about this movie.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that movie.
Actually, yeah, that's a great idea.
Almost guaranteed, unless we haven't seen it.
Waterworld.
Haven't seen it.
The City of Lost Children.
Seen that one.
Lost City of Z or whatever the hell.
Lost
that
City of
was?
Z, because they're
Zed?
British.
Oh yeah.
Charlie Hunnam's a good actor.
Sometimes.
I mean, he's in that one.
Hey, you should watch Sons of Anarchy and then tell me that.
Well, I mean, hey, are you gonna watch that new spinoff, The Mayans?
Nope.
Or whatever?
I was very disappointed with Sons of Anarchy.
But it's a different biker gang.
That's true. Hey, hey, you know what? Sold.
Okay.
No.
Hook, line, sinker. Got him.
Listen, if you're gonna watch Sons of Anarchy, skip season 3 because that is awful.
Skip season 1, 2, 3,
4, 5,
and
6, 7.
And 7.
Yeah.
I've never seen that show. I actually heard it's good, but I don't know. Maybe not from this
one. Anyways, everybody, listen, we've had a great time. We hope you've had a great time too. We'll see you next time on the Filmtastic Voyage.
And scene.